I am the Mummy Heb-Nefert by Eve Bunting. I am the Mummy Heb-Nefert, black as night, stretched as tight as a leather on a drum. My arms are folded on my hollow chest, where once my live heart beat. My ears are holes that hear no sound. Once I was the daughter of a nomarch, favored, beautiful, but all things change. I danced one evening for the Pharaoh's brother Tai. My pleated linen robe swayed gentle at my every step. The circlet on my head gleamed with its jeweled light. My eyes, my hands, gave promises of bliss that made him weak, and soon he loved me. I was a cherished wife. The palace was my home. I lived for him and he for me. Handmaidens dressed me every day. They kept my head so sweetly shaved, pumiced and polished till it shone. They painted me with yellow dye, darkened the lashes of my eyes with kohl, shadowed my lids with blue, the color of the evening sky. My nails were henna'd red as jasper beads. My flaxen wig was jewel woven, and on the top a cone of scented fat melted to liquid in the summer warmth and smelled of flowers. I was so beautiful, but these things pass. We sailed upon the Nile, my lord and I, the wildfowl rising from the reeds along the bank, the ripples of the sacred river soft against our boat. Sometimes we saw a hippopotamus, great jaws agape, a crocodile, but we were ever safe. At times my husband threw a stick to bring the winged birds down. My cat, well trained in gentleness, would run along the banks and fetch them back. So good a cat, Nebut, my husband, swift and strong, he seldom missed. We'd wander in the gardens, he and I, beside the pleasure lake where lotus blossoms grew. The servant girls would come on soundless feet and bring us fruit, grapes, dates, and figs, the basket balanced on their heads, a cloth of linen spread beneath a canopy that kept us from the sun, and we would feast while harpists played. One day, disguised, my handmaiden and I went back to where I once had lived before the Pharaoh's brother loved me. I watched the women crushing wheat to make the bread. I saw the men hoeing the fields, the boys beside them using stones and slings to scare the birds away. I saw the house where I was born, my parents gone now, but the snake still there, still tightly coiled and sleek inside its kitchen basket, sleepy, but I knew alert, to keep the rats and mice away from where the grain was stored. The same snake or another, who could tell? I wept a little, but I knew my life was good, so good, beside my Lord. My golden cat, Nebut, I loved. She loved me too, and came with me into the silent twilight of the afterlife, when day changed to eternity. I rose above myself and watched. I watched as they anointed me with oils and spices, took away the parts of me that were inside, and filled me up with natron, cinnamon, and herbs. My eyes were closed and plugged. Beeswax filled my nose. They capped my nails with gold studded. They capped my nails with gold studded with precious stones, bejeweled me from head to toe, and bound me up in linen, layer on layer. I was to be for all eternity well kept for him. They made a mask painted to look like me, bound up my cat, and masked her too, my faithful cat Nebut. Placed me in my sarcophagus, pictured around with likenesses of gods who would receive me. The sled that took me to my tomb was pulled by oxen. Behind the lines of weepers wept and sprinkled dust about their heads to show their grief. Porters carried things that I would need, the food that I would eat, my jewels, amulets, my offerings to the gods. Great golden Horus, falcon in the sky, awaited me, and he would greet the barge that bore me through the streams of stars. I would be blessed. They placed me gently in the tomb, juniper berries at my head and feet, my gilded cat in a butt to stay with me. My dear Lord wept. The Pharaoh said an amulet would bear his brother's name and mine. The world would know we two had loved. My noble one grew old and also left that life to lie at last beside me in the night that followed night. Time passed, and time dark time and years, till we found our bodies moved, placed in glass coffins under lights in quiet rooms. I rose above myself and watched as people came. They peered into the cases where we lay. They spoke the words unknown to me, but understood as they were said. This was a person. This was a person? This and this? How foolish that they do not see how all things change, and so will they. 3,000 years from now, they will be dust and bones. I am the Mummy Heb-Nefert, black as night, stretched as tight as leather on a drum. Once I was beautiful.